Hey y'all, welcome to Porch Tea with Destiny. It's been a while since I spoke with y'all last, and it seems that all hell broke loose in the country since then. Um, the new president, the administrative actions that he's taken, the ones that Elon Musk are taking, and I just before I get any further, I just want to say he's doing this without having been sworn to any official office. Um, it's crazy, and I think the craziest thing about it is that we're just going on about our day and trying to sue our way out of this. And that's not to say that I don't believe in our lawyers that are doing the damn thing. Shout out to Democracy Forward, who's really holding the line for us. Shout out to the judges and the attorneys who are criticizing and going to bat for us legally every day to ensure that this country doesn't fall further into chaos. I appreciate you all. I respect what you do. And also, this is not normal. These times that we're in, and when I say we're trying to sue our way out, I don't know what else it's going to take. It might take everybody showing up at capacity, which they can, but we're still trying to get our bearings straight after all this, and it has been a whirlwind. So as I'm literally back on my porch, and it is a very chilly day right now, I just had to be with you all in community. I really did. And I'm recovering from illness, long term, starting a new job, getting my feet set on that, new surroundings, overall. Right. And I said, you know what? I was ready to come back to Porch Tea with Destiny last month. Then it just felt like the bottom fell out with those unfortunate air collisions that impacted the lives of so many lives lost, communities that have lost them, the rest of us who didn't get to know these people that are lost. And, and I get the statistics, I get the reports around air travel still being the safest mode of travel. I hear all of that, and I respect the statistics and the statisticians that put those reports together. And still, something's still not settling right in my spirit about where we are right now as a nation, as a member of the first world. That the issues that we're having right now, having to work through what it seems to be staging a coup on our own selves. It's this coup is a lot going on. So it's more than the air traffic collisions, and I say a prayer for those whose lives are lost and the families that are directly impacted. I do. It's more than air collisions. It's more than the attacks on Social Security. It's more than the blatant disregard for veterans. It's more than misgendering trans people. It's more than spitting and laughing in black people's face every day around atrocities. It's bigger than BIPOC or erasure through diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives that are under attack. And you need to say the full name. Get rid of the acronym. Because even the people who are protesting, they don't realize that it was because of DEI efforts they could see there's some of their primary care doctors that they could get on the ramps. If they're in a wheelchair. Anyway, I'm not going to over-explain it because we've been doing too much over-explaining. As folks who are left to center or left. So it is now really time to try and figure out what we can do to support the good work that is happening in spite of. That is, like I said, it's more than just the one-off things. It's all of it together that's been pretty damning. And it's still important to find the moments of joy and to anchor in and ground yourself in those. Have the people around you who love up on you, especially in these times. And, to be a member of the community that you respect. There's a lot of us who are working in nonprofit or are activists in their social circles, or they're doing what they can to keep cheer and keep, message of hope alive. It's a lot for us right now, and I think that we really are going to have to come together and just look in the mirror and say, you know what? There's nobody coming to save us. We are the us that needs to save us. And, these are things we've been hearing, but I think it's just a matter of just going forth and doing it. Have a plan first, of course, but it's hard to plan for something that you've never dealt with before. Not to say that this nation hasn't been in hard times before, that it hasn't completely ostracized and stripped rights of people before, but something about it feels a little bit different this time. It's not the extreme of slavery. It's not the extreme of towns burning down. Shout out to Tulsa and shout out to Center Street in Des Moines and so many others that we had as model, Black Wall Streets over the centuries and over the years. It's different this time. We are actively fighting and learning about, some of us relearning, fascism. How it impacts us every day. And it's overwhelming. The type of things that we're dealing with is overwhelming in a different kind of way. It's crazy. So if there are folks who are still struggling with how to deal with what we've got going on, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. And even as I'm looking at the trees that are still bare from bearing its leaves and it's cold outside, there's still a part of me that is still optimistic. And I think it's because there are so many people that are waking up to what is happening and what has been happening for certain groups of us for a very long time. So for Black people, this ain't shit new. For people who are trans, this isn't new. For people who are LGBTQ at large, Black, BIPOC, Black, brown, indigenous, other folks of color, this is nothing new. What's new is probably the scale that it's on right now. Like, nobody could chalk it up to say that it is, local impact of where it's happening, or, hyper local. This is impacting the entire United States. And I think what makes me hopeful is that people are starting to see, starting to understand, starting to feel what the most impacted groups have been feeling for decades, which is the unfairness, the unjustness, the, oh my God, what was that? The shock of it all. The collective grief and shock is something that's oddly cathartic to me. Finally, folks are starting to understand that what I was feeling wasn't in my head, and it wasn't in the heads of so many that I love, that I work with, that I I'm in community with, that I'm in coalition with, that we can finally start to collectively say, thank goodness you see it too. Will you use your gifts this time to help us fight the monster? The monster is no longer invisible. The monster being, fascism. The monster being, one of the tools being, gaslighting. Saying it's not there, it's not real. It's very real. And it's not to say that I'm happy to see folks suffer. And I just want to be clear on that. I'm not happy to see anybody suffer. I'm happy to see that there are more people who chose to give a damn. Right? We still have a long ways to go. The drawback of having new people a part of a movement or part of intersecting movements are that they need a little bit to get up to speed. They know enough about what's going on to be dangerous, but part of why fascism is so dangerous is that fascist regimes are doing what they can to squander or squash relevant, useful, and accurate information. So this isn't news to you all, but you know that the journalism, the field of it, is in critical condition right now, with a lot of trusted sources going by the wayside for either being forced out or silenced. And you know that is the typical, fascist symptom. It's a symptom of fascism. Attempting to, isolate this country, isolate, America, say, you know what, America first, isn't that's the isolationist, that's part of fascism as well. And so, I think that moving forward is going to take something that we haven't done before. And when I say we, I mean folks who are center of left and left, of being able to fall in line, behind each other and not fall out because of one small thing or one thing to completely take us off the board. Something that the right has done really well is they unified. Now, all those jokers, they might not all like each other, but they understood that in order to achieve the goal and have the long-term strategy of having a predominantly, right movement that is supported by, the trifecta of the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the domino effect it had. They had a long game strategy, and they did the damn thing. Unfortunately. And, something the left, center of the left haven't done before is to be able to fall in line and to unify in a way that's actually going to make some impactful change. This is something that I'm literally sitting on my porch thinking about in real time. And for anybody who's watching that's new or is listening that's new, I don't have any scripts. This is a brain dump. So my brain dump at this point in time is going to take all of us to save us. I'm hopeful that there are now more people waking up to what's going on. And this is where the rubber starts to meet the road. But I think it's going to get a lot worse. In terms of, services being cut. I was on a webinar the other day about the state of Social Security Administration and the state of Social Security benefits. And it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And when I say that, I mean they're looking to cut around 7,000 people. 10,000 people might wind up leaving. You cut that many people, services are impacted. Who's going to process the claims? Who's going to ensure that benefits are paid out the way they're supposed to be paid out? How are you succession planning? So the people that are, being put out or, bought out, how are we doing a knowledge transfer? Brain drain is very real. And nonprofits, government agencies, really good, passionate folk about people, about things like that. But processes, being able to track how a process was done, that's not our strongest suit. So when you have something like this, that's only going to be exacerbated to the nth degree. That's only one department that I could think of right now that is really going to hurt and suffer, which means a lot of us are going to. A decision to try and cut Medicaid, $880 million from Medicaid, heinous. That impacts elderly, children, folks living with disabilities, veterans. I mean, anybody that you could think of who was a beneficiary of Medicaid. It's a a spectrum of people that are going to be impacted. I just, oh, we're going through a disgusting period in history right now. Don't get me started on reproductive health rights. And access to abortion. People who really need care, really need support. And the intersectional impacts of reproductive health access. I don't get it. You know, every year, except for this year, there have been people and organizations that said, Destiny, you need to run for office. You need to do something. Ever since 2009, every year, folks have said it. And every year I've said no. And I'm still saying no. However, I feel like I'll entertain people. If I did run, I don't know what state the United States will be in then. I don't know if I want to run for office, seeing how it's being done. And but what I do know is that there are a lot of passionate people that are running for office that have woken up in a different way, that have, woken up to be more civically engaged. And when you support them, yeah, we got to figure out a way. Because all I know is right now, this ain't it. A completely different structure needs to be thought of. Not to completely dismantle the old one, because it's doing that by itself already. It's doing the heavy lifting of dismantling itself. But reimagine what it means to be an American in the United States. With the understanding that there's some issues coming to the forefront that we've never dealt with, and we're in its ugly head right now. Impacts of racism as a public health concern. Anti-LGBTQ policies and procedures. People, trying to, criminalize disabilities or criminalize people that are seeking abortion care, that are seeking reproductive health. We've been fighting it piecemeal, one by one at a time, but I think for people who are, experts in those fields and to do what we do, I think we just need a collective, let's just try and do the things at once. And maybe that's a bad idea, but we who are most impacted, we're being attacked on all fronts right now. And I'm so glad that we have organizations that are still seeking to provide political education, that are still seeking to provide places of rest when social advocacy is taking its toll. I'm still grateful to people that have chosen to become safe places for individuals when sometimes government officials or families have collapsed and essentially said they wouldn't be there for them. I'm still grateful, truly grateful for all that has went on. just thought about those poor people in LA with the fires. Whew. A representative from Political Research Associates, or PRA, asked me, "How are you holding up on day 53?" Because at the time it was the 53rd day since the Trump administration has been in the role. And I said, honestly, I don't even count the days anymore. Days are hard, but I think what's harder for me is to not do anything. And so I will start back with Porch Tea with Destiny, even if some days it feels gloomy. It's a gloomy time in history. And still, there are folks making a difference every day. There's still organizations that exist to support LGBTQ folks, to support Black folks, to support folks living with disabilities, to support people who are veterans. And they need our help right now. To support people who are immigrants, to support people who are lower socioeconomic status. But we really do. We need to come together on the fronts. And I think one of the largest questions is, where do we go for quality information about what's happening right now with journalism on fire? And I most recently came from the South by Southwest conference that was down in Austin. And one of the panels that I was listening in on is, how do we decenter misinformation that's going on in immigrant communities, or like that's impacting immigrant communities. And one of the responses was to be a trusted member of society, that you can deliver the messages yourselves when you find out what's happening. So being able to connect locally and have like a hyper-local focus on here's what you need to know. So I would recommend even folks keep up with organizations like Democracy Forward, who is giving the Trump administration the fucking blues right now, with all those lawsuits and challenging them at every turn. So the DEI movement that he's got going on right now, they're just like, we're gonna slap that down. Our representatives, like Jasmine Crockett, Diana Presley, they are really doing the damn thing and being vocal. We need to support them. But I think it's just a matter of being able to tap into organizations like Democracy Forward or Political Research Associates, that their sole job is to research trends in the opposition. So how their movement got started, what we're looking toward now, and things like that. We have so many organizations, and I think what I'm going to wind up doing is just having a link, so you all can follow them. But they're also on Blue Sky, and I think what's another one that Annie mentioned? Substack? Yeah, I'm not on Substack yet, but I will be getting on there and see what all I can find. Yeah, I think it's just important for us to stick together in ways that make sense, and truly center those most impacted. And also keep in mind that there are still missing, murdered Black, brown, and indigenous women. All the while, sex trafficking is still going on. All the while, suicidality is going up a bit. being able to keep up with organizations like NAMI or substance use disorder treatment centers that need additional support and assistance. So basically, think about the services you use every day. And just go, wow. And say thank you for existing. Because we really don't know what the future holds. With budget cuts to federal agencies being, as far as the newly retired, and those that are being offered severance pay to get put out and ousted. It's going to be a completely different world. And I think we need to rally around those agencies. The fact that Office of Personnel Management has been compromised is scary. The fact that Social Security data is just out there, ridiculous. Letting go of inspector generals, the IGs, ludicrous. Target rolling back their DEI efforts. Damn, Target, damn. And I don't smoke, but my spirit does. And right now, we have rolled a fat one. And yet, there are still organizations like, Black and Pink, it's based out of Omaha, Nebraska, looking to end incarceration and lifting up folks who are, living with HIV and AIDS, centering those most impacted. That brings me joy. The fact that the field of reproductive justice is reconciling and looking at what, reconciliation means between the different organizations, that makes me happy. Let me see what else. Being able to connect with different organizations that center those living with disabilities, I'm for it. All of the organizations that bring you joy, you need to reach out to them right now and tell them thank you. And ask what type of support they might need right now. Because it's going to take all of us. And I just want to give a special shout out to One Iowa and One Iowa Action, who did a damn good job of turning out Des Moines at the Capitol, having their largest turnout for LGBTQ, advocacy, and their most impactful Hill Day of what went on, attempting to stop trans erasure on the political side. So, living everyday life, trans folks exist. They just are. And the fact that they were able to bring so many storytellers together to talk to legislators, to do what they could to provide, resources for safety and, protocols to ensure people's safety. We're good to go. But I just really want to say thank you to Max, the executive director of One Iowa, and Keenan Crow heading up that One Iowa Action bit. Y'all did the damn thing. I hope you keep doing it. And for those of you all who are not aware about Iowa's the first state to remove a protected class, gender identity. And I keep telling people this, and for folks who get it, get it. Now, Iowa and some select few, Midwestern states, that's an experimentation zone. A lot of times legislators will look at what's going on in Iowa and see what they can get away with in other places. It is a battleground, for sure, to see how similar states or similarly situated states could fare. And that's not to say you can cookie cut a situation into the next one. But folks are really watching Iowa intensely about what's going on in the LGBTQ movement right now. And so I just want to say hats off to One Iowa for holding it down, and the different organizations that they were able to bring together to demonstrate that trans folks aren't going anywhere. As well as they should not. Trans people have been have been historians, have been educators, have been, caretakers, have been your nurses, your doctors, your friends, your homies that you went to school with. Literally any role that you could think of, trans folks have been there through it all. And if you say that you are a member of the community and you want to support, this is the time. It was time over 20 years ago, over 50 years ago, but now is it. We literally have, some of our own fam being, misgendered out here in legislative courts. And so, we really do have to come together and do what we can. But in the coming days, I really hope that I'll have a better sense of what all is shaking out. But I think what it is just what it is right now, and we just have to be where the moment is. We are in the moment. We have to be here. We can't keep comparing it to, oh my God, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, or, oh, we can look forward to 10, 15. We need people to do forecasting. So whoever the forecasters are, may the powers that be with you. But the majority of us, we need to stay right here in this moment, and see the weight of it, while also having the vision forward to ground us. Now, that is not to say that we need to live in the future, but we need to start building up to where we want it to look like. So that, unfortunately, that requires us to be present in what's going on right now, and doing what we can and not burying our head in the sand. So it's beyond past time. And I don't know, I'm looking forward to seeing what new organizations for social justice and advocacy emerge. I'm looking forward to see who the new legislators are going to be. Who are the new folks that may run for office, what it means for people to stay in the fight, and to be here regardless. So, yeah. And let's see, something that I heard on the panel, crisis or catalyst courts, communities, in our democracy, as a part of South by Southwest conference, was crisis is a catalyst for real change. Crisis is a catalyst. Also heard, crisis is a ladder. There are going to be many who either fumble the ladder, or we're going to see who climbs up it, as my supervisor likes to say. She likes Games of Thrones. Yeah. We need new judges. We need judges that reflect our communities. Shout out to Demand Justice for creating an attorney to judge pipeline for judges who actually reflect what community looks like, feels like, needs are to become judges. Brilliant program. I'm for it. yeah, there's good work happening. And I think the next episode I will share more of, what good work is still happening, in spite of, and get more into the specifics about what's going on, in California in spite of, or what's going on with some of these national organizations in spite of. But for right now, today, I just had to collectively be with you and say, what the F? Yep, we're all seeing the same thing, or we're experiencing something similar, which is the United States is crumbling. That we are in the fuck around and find out stage. So for those of you that voted, that voted red this time, and are starting to finally feel the gravity of what this means, or what the impact of it is, even for you, even for those who are red. I'm glad you can also see it and feel it. There are folks who thought they would still have a job. And they don't now. All because of, I'm not even going to get into it. But I just want folks to be able to just come together on at least a few issues that we could really tackle at this point in time. We don't have to have it all figured out. We don't. But we need to get the biggest fires first. And I think we're finally at a point where more people are starting to experience what is going on, that we can actually finally start to get somewhere. These town halls, that's one thing that brought me joy before I get on up out of here. The town halls. These Republican town halls where they are calling their elected officials onto the mat and asking them the why questions. Why is this happening to our community that you claim to love? Why are you doing these things to a community that you claim to love? And they've been met with mixed reviews, and most of it negative, with some folks avoiding the questions or answers that aren't satisfactory. And so I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably not too popular to say, but it's a time for I told you so. It's time for I told you so, and it's also time for now that we done told you so, what are we going to do to build together? Because there's some things collectively we're just going to have to go ahead and move forward on anyway, and call it good. So yeah, we need our moment to say, see, no, we done told you. And now we need to rebuild. So come on, let's try and rebuild something that's actually sustainable. Think about the future. Think about the kids. Think about the elderly. Think about the people in your community that you care about, that you are willing to be in spaces that make you uncomfortable with folks you didn't think you'd ever be in coalition with. It is now that time. It's time to rethink coalition building. It's time to rethink what it means to be left, right, center. The system is flawed to begin with, but the right is really showing its ass right now. That is what I'll say. Not all of the right, but collectively large and large is showing its ass, and there are members even on the right saying that's enough. Yeah, we're definitely at the that's enough time. But anyway, I feel like I'm rambling at this point, but I will leave you with this. You matter. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad I'm still here. We're fortunate to have, each other in the world right now. Excuse me. And as I sit on this very, very cold porch, I'm reminded that we still have a way forward. We're building it as we go. Unfortunately, that's where we're at. So we can actually have creativity in the midst of this chaos as well. So I'll use that as the anchor. And of course, to my family, I love you very much. And I'm very grateful that you all have grounded me during these times. I'm very grateful for, the workplace that I'm in. Leaps and bounds grateful for them. I'm grateful to anybody in any of these social justice movements that are still attempting to find their center. And it's time to kick butt. It's time to kick butt against fascism. It's just time. We need us all. That's it. So like I said, next time we will get into the nitty-gritties of what organizations are doing that is impactful, where people can go for resources, what we are doing for those who are LGBTQ or immigrants or folks living with disabilities. Because there's still joy in spite of. There are still victories in spite of. And so next time I'll share a little bit about that. But I really needed this time with you all today to just collectively breathe with you. I'd say thanks. Thanks for being with me. I'm glad to be with you. Until next time, this is Porch Tea with Destiny. Take care, folks.